Sports Night rolls on now, and we have a new legal sports expert who's joining us on the show by the name of Christy Dosh. And Christy, first of all, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Tell us a little bit about the fact that you're an attorney, and you've also written a book, and you've been involved in a lot of the economic issues as well as legal issues in sports, and particularly baseball. Just give us a quick thumbnail about yourself.
Yeah, to be honest, I started out as a fan, loved baseball, took a tax class in law school, and really didn't want to write about the Internal Revenue Code, so I convinced my professor that baseball had internal taxation, and he let me write about revenue sharing and the luxury tax, and it's just kind of ballooned from there.
Oh, wow. That's really cool. So you're just interested in it to start with.
I was.
That's awesome. That's good. And it's way more interesting than the IRS stuff, right?
Yes. I'm sorry, but it is.
All right. I know you can probably make this simple for nothing because it's complicated in my view, and I think in the mind of all the viewers too. We're talking about a hard slot in baseball, and one of the things you can relate that to is in the NBA draft, for instance, where you get drafted, there is probably an amount of money that a rookie's going to get paid, and they're going to get that. In baseball, it's kind of all over the place. Is that accurate? And if so, what's happening in baseball?
So in baseball, you've got suggested slots where the commissioner's office issues a list before the draft every year with suggested signing bonuses for each slot. But it's very rare that teams actually stick to that slotting. Generally, the bonuses, especially in the first couple of rounds, are a lot greater than the suggested slot. So with upcoming collective bargaining negotiations this fall, a lot of people have been talking about the need for hard slotting in Major League Baseball, where each spot in the draft would be assigned a set signing bonus. And the rationale behind that is people are saying that your so-called, smaller market, poorer teams can't afford to pay out these large signing bonuses and aren't drafting the people that they would like to draft.
Well, let's talk about an issue that I know a lot of our fans here in Atlanta last year with Tommy Hanson were frustrated to have to wait and see him till June, and this year the Florida Marlins fans are the same way with Mike Stanton, and up in Washington, Steven Strasburg didn't make his debut till June because they hear the term Super 2. What does that mean?
So in baseball, a player is eligible for salary arbitration after 3 years, eligible for free agency after 6 years, but there's a select group of guys, the top 17% of guys who have more than 2 years of service time, but less than 3 years. And the misconception I hear is people think that that top 17% is in terms of their ability. It's not. It's strictly based on the number of days they have service time. And so often the media and fans think that they're, up-and-coming players aren't coming up soon enough because the team is trying to avoid this Super 2 status and have the player essentially for an extra year.
Makes sense. We're talking about the expanded instant replay once again, especially after that Armando Galarraga perfect game and the blown call and the whole thing. Is it coming? And the poll on ESPN says the players don't want it, which I was super surprised about that.
I was too, and that's why I wanted to talk about it. I was sitting around Sunday watching SportsCenter, and I saw them give the poll, and I rushed to get online and make sure I heard it correctly. I was kind of surprised. They asked 100 players, so kind of a small sample size, whether they wanted to see instant replay on base path calls, and 77%, I think it was, said no. They asked them about fair foul calls, and 62% said no. And they even asked them about Galarraga's perfect game and if the commissioner should have overturned Jim Joyce's call and given him the perfect game, and 86% of players said no. Wow. And I agree.
Because it's like there's no crying in baseball and there's no replay on the calls. It's what it is.
Yeah.
And you argue, and the umpire kicks, the manager kicks dirt, and the ump throws him out, and that's just what it is in baseball. Let's talk about NFL right now. When are people going to not be able to afford to go to a ball game? It seems like the NFL is just raising prices more and more. 18 teams raising prices this year.
They are, and I was talking to some friends the other day about it and was shocked to learn that a friend of mine who's had Falcons season tickets for 15 years got her renewal notice, and that her ticket price was going to go up by over $2,000 from last year. The good thing I can report is that she called and spoke with people at the Falcons and was able to adjust her seat just a little bit and maintain the same price level. So I'm glad that the Falcons are willing to work with people.
Well, maybe that's one of the things we can kind of use to look forward to 2012, raising ticket prices. Is that what the NFL is doing to maybe prepare for a lockout? There's a lot of, conjecture that this is one of the things you're going to see, and we're hearing about lockout protection plans. What exactly could be the future over the next 24 months?
I do think a lot of people think that the rising ticket prices are a product of the kind of stall out there seems to be in the negotiations. There have been no real conversations between the league and the players since February until this morning, and apparently they met this morning, although the only topic of conversation I understand was having an extended season. But the players just filed a grievance last week under the league rules. There's a special master, and they filed a grievance with the special master saying that the most recent TV deals, that there was maybe some money left on the table, and that the league traded out these lockout clauses where they still get paid even if they're not playing in 2011. It certainly looks a little suspicious.
And by the way, in case you don't know what special master is, I'm a special master as an example. Would that be?
Absolutely.
Wow, it just got really uncomfortable in here.
Okay, well, if I do say so myself. Time for this one last question to you, though. All this talk about expansion in football. What's behind it all? Gotta be TV. What do you see about that? Because you have focused on the economy of sports.
I absolutely think it was all about the TV money. But the most interesting part about it is it's really about future TV money. The two deals that the Big 12 has right now, I think one runs through 2012, the other through 2016. So we're talking that, the commissioner made promises about money in the future. So what I really think it was about was the ability of Texas and Oklahoma to control their own media rights and possibly start their own networks.
Yeah, because ESPN's deal goes through 15-16, I think, and the Pac-12 deals, the Fox deal is about to be up too. Going to be interesting. That's why I don't think it's over yet.
I agree.
And something else not over is you coming and join us on the show. We appreciate your insight into this.
Thank you. I enjoyed being with you all.
All right, Christy Dosh, who's here to talk about the legal and economic things in the world of sports. Even Matt Chernoff got some of that, didn't you?
I mean, I got a lot of big words. I'll go to a thesaurus after the show.
All right, we're continuing with 365 on football. Moving the Chains is next.